Alright, so gonna have in the upper left hand side of the map. I believe Terran player someone else that just kind of returned from the military lately and stuff. Cool to see him is KeeN. And I've also heard that he's been doing pretty well. I mean, he actually nearly made it into freaking Code S, man. He nearly beat DRG. That was DRG made round of 8. So yeah, KeeN was also kind of a mech player in those games as well. And a lot of those TVZs. So maybe mech is just the way for the returning Terrans to be competitive again. I know, it's been kind of cool to see. It's been fun. Seeing these guys return from the military doing well. I get excited because to me, it's new players that might play in my tournaments and stuff, right, as well. And I've got a Korean event coming up during the DreamHack season, and it'll be very fun to see a lot of those guys getting involved and stuff. So, yeah, that would be pretty cool. Get ourselves set up right now. Scan this underway. Game number 1 of this best of 3. Gonna have an SCV chasing down a probe. I'm gonna open my can of pop. Need a drink, guys. My throat was dying in that last series, actually. Obviously, Trap. Pretty freaking good. GSL finalist right now. Trap's just been the Protoss player this year, right? Like, there's no doubt about it. If you're talking about a Protoss player, you're probably talking about Trap, right? If you're not talking about Trap, you may as well start talking about Trap, because he really has been the Protoss player doing pretty much all of the things. And it's kind of impressive the consistency is found. I feel like we've not seen a Protoss as consistent as Trap is right now since, like, Stats in his prime, maybe? Like, Stats in his prime was a very consistent player, but anyone else? Especially in the way that he's playing, you know? He's playing a very just solid style. It's nothing cheesy. It's nothing like that runs around on trickery. Trap is just kind of that straight up kind of good Protoss player as of late, and I kind of love that, you know? I love that about him. Gonna see that CC gonna move across, will land in the natural. Our Stalker gets turned away by a few units in the bunker as well. Sensor's gonna get pushed back already. And again, Blink coming through. The Warp Gate is on the way. That's pretty standard stuff to start with here. A couple of Marines also on the way out. As our Widow Mine is building too, so very standard stuff. We'll see exactly if Trap wants to be aggressive or anything off the Blink. That is a possibility, and one of the ones that could maybe change things up a little bit here. At first, Zeb trying to poke on up and have a little bit of a look to see what is going on. Honestly, the answer is still not a whole lot. Just Hellion pops up and is going to get in for a couple probes. I mean, you do get to see the Twilight, which is good info, and you get a probe kill. Make that 2, and it's even better. Make it 3, and you're actually having a fantastic time. I mean, that's obviously something you'll take any day of the week. That definitely works. It's going to see Adept is going to go shading forward again, try and put some pressure up the ramp. A couple of assimilators down onto the natural, so they're going to come through as well here. Well, as Blink finishes up, Trap has a third base, so as I was kind of alluding to, maybe some aggression. There's not actually going to be any aggression here this time around. That hallucination is going to make its way all the way to the top sides. The Hallucinate Oracle making its way around the top. It's going to get into the main base as well. So the Marines continue to come through. The refinery in the center. Again, a lot of setting up right now, a lot of getting ready to roll. Just going to be seeing these few stalkers ready for a blink up into this natural. So we are going to harass a little bit here, Trap. Putting some pressure in. And doing pretty good at that, actually, as these few Marines start to put the pressure back onto the stalkers, though. And they will put them back. So well defended. I mean, a few SCVs go down. It's kind of tough to avoid because it's tough, unless you have very good map vision. There's only so much map vision you can really have at this stage of the game. So I don't really hate that because I feel like it feels difficult for KeeN to do much better than he did there, right? Like, I feel like everyone loses just a handful of SCVs in that scenario. Unless you, like I said, unless you just know where the stalkers are, and that's just so difficult to do. So I can't really fault KeeN for that, as we're just going to see our stalkers blink up into the main. I'll grab a depot to begin with. I mean, now we really commit up here, so he's really trying to make something happen out of this. Stalkers end up recalling away. KeeN does not chase it down. Just unit trade outs. Resources lost fantastic for Trap. He lost an observer and 3 probes to that Hellion. But otherwise, the army that he's been killing with the stalkers, and he hasn't lost a stalker yet, so I mean, now it really does start to add up that little bit, right? That efficiency definitely starts to shine through. Definitely a factor. See a bit of Bio going to go for pylon on the bottom side. And obviously, KeeN just starting to try and drop around a little bit. As Trap, his first real splash damage of the game is going to be in the form of that Storm. I've seen that become just way more popular of a way to play this matchup out as well, rather than all these Colossi openers. In fact, I'd say we probably see Storm more than we see the Colossus openers now, which is really kind of crazy just for how much we saw the Colossus openers previously. They were like the bread and butter of TVP, and for that to have changed so desperately, it's kind of crazy. A super battery here is going to be denied. As those few stalkers still trying to show up and put some work in. I'm going to get shot down pretty easy. These few probes pulling into the corner, and the medevac going to try and evacuate a little bit at the very end. Drop from KeeN. It doesn't really trade very... It trades alright, I guess. Killing an Archon was decent. Like I say, it was okay. I'm just not completely convinced by it. I feel like Trap is in general in a pretty happy spot. He's going to clean up these mines as well. And as KeeN loses these medevacs and so on, he does not have a way to keep on applying pressure, right? That is his pressure on the map being, well, handled, you know? And as that gets shut down, that genuinely then becomes obviously more of a problem for the future in terms of how he's going to keep on pressuring and keep this game active and keep this game interesting. Prism jumps out, and of course it's time for Stormy Boys to start having a bit of a say in this game as well. And I've got the drop lurking for the move into the main base, just kind of looking for that still. Hasn't quite found that right opportunity yet just to make this thing. Here we are, going to go in now. There's going to be a recall from Trap. The one thing about forcing a recall is A, obviously it buys you time. This army that was on the map is now back at home. So you don't have to worry about being attacked as much. But B, can you then capitalize on this? Can you now take a fight which takes advantage of the fact that their opponent, your opponent's army is recalled and that's on cooldown? As now KeeN moves through, he gets a cancel on this base. He's getting a good few probe kills. I mean, things are adding up. I mean, like I say, that drop went down. He actually catches the observer too. KeeN having a good couple of moments. Having a very good couple of moments, and I like this. I mean, this is kind of what you want to see from a Terran player that's trying to give themselves a chance to win in the TVP matchup. Taking control, not looking awkward, looking pretty confident in what he's doing. It's just some good stuff so far. From the buy units dropping back in. I'm going to see the Widowmine is going to start going off. These Archons moving up the ramp. EMPs go off on a whole bunch of stuff. Zealots, Archon, all getting EMP'd. And now we got the Prism. Going to get shot down in the end. I mean, Trap tries to go up this ramp. I mean, he didn't really get to cast many storms. There they are, and the SCV count now does suffer. But KeeN with an upgrade lead. 1-1 was not done for Trap here. And KeeN's actually going to come chase now. The drop on the other side of the map kills the Nexus and will get an Immortal. So it's going to find not just value in the economy damage, but value in the army damage. And I mean, honestly, we are genuinely seeing KeeN rip Trap apart a little bit. That attack from Trap was no good. I don't know why Trap's attacking just so soon to having the upgrades. Like, his own 1-1 was genuinely not far from finishing. And then he just sort of said, whatever, don't need it. Not bothered by it. And obviously just doesn't really make sense, right? So that was a bit of a weirder decision, for sure. We'll see this Bio Army coming stemming forwards again. It's going to push up this ramp, but right now is the moment to really break through here, as KeeN does have a decent supply lead. Just a little bit worried if he's trying to make things happen a little bit too soon, but to be fair, I mean, he does come off of a really good fight, so if he's confident, play for it. To be fair, I'd rather see him kind of feeling confident and taking fights than just sitting at home and being like, oh my god, this is good for me. Let's not do anything else and let's just wait for Trap to get back in the game. Nice Widow Mine drop. I mean, KeeN is just unrelenting in this pressure. Good control, denying bases, good multitasking. Now Trap only has 2 bases up and running. Wow, wow, wow. Viking coming down the left side, chases the Prism away. The game slows down a bit. A few more ghosts just continuing up here. The Marines are coming through as well. So continuing to, I mean, both sides of this kind of building up into those extra units with the Force of the Terran, though. Definitely looking scary. Having that many ghosts coming on the field against just the 4 High Templar. 4 High Templar that don't have a... I mean, they do have a Prism to hide in, but will they hide in it? Maybe, maybe not. There isn't a guarantee right now. I mean... Oh, it comes in from the side for the flank, and that goes the Prism. So now they definitely don't have a Prism to hide in. That's a big problem. Because now you're playing without a Prism. And these HTs are just going to be so much more vulnerable than usual. Widowmine's doing decently as KeeN. I mean, he just has the better army here. EMPs will just refresh, and they're just going to make sure there's no shields on the Archons or anything. A little bit of a shame that this Archon isn't going to die, because he got it to absolutely 0 shields. I just wasn't really able to follow through in the end there. That definitely is a shame, as they're going to come pushing forward, and I mean, it's still not really an army. You're going to see Trap trying to save these High Templar to get Storms, but that's a decision that might just kill him. But I think it's the decision he has to make, because if he morphs more Archons, they're just going to get EMP'd. At least with the High Templar, you have a chance of getting up to the Storm, and if you get up to the Storm, it's a much better situation for yourself. Storms can definitely be more influential than Archons right now, but KeeN just has too much. He played a solid game. Good multitasking, good defense. Yeah, well handled by KeeN, put himself in a really good winning position, and the best part is he didn't, like I said, he didn't sit back and do nothing. He was like, oh, I'm in a good spot. Let's take advantage of that. Let's go across the map and attack, and KeeN takes map 1 of the best of 3. Up 1-0 in the upper right-hand side will be the blue Terran player KeeN. That's genuinely... I'm genuinely happy for him. This tournament apparently has some cool upsets. Even just taking a map, I think, is cool for KeeN. Cham took a map off Bjorn as well. Yeah, we casted that one yesterday. It's been a fun experience so far, this event, I gotta say. Been enjoying it. Again, shout out to the Team GP guys who let us buy the replays to broadcast for you guys. If you guys want to help Wardy make his money back for buying the replays, do consider subscribing. Subscribing actually helps a whole bunch. Replays weren't that expensive, guys. They were only $10. Just memeing. But if you do enjoy the stream, please do consider hitting up the sub button, especially if you've got a Prime sub going around, going free. Helps us out a whole bunch. Prime subs are free for you guys. Help me out just as much as a regular sub. I say we're just trying to keep the sub count healthy. We had a fantastic sub day yesterday. Don't get me wrong, but just trying to keep it as healthy as possible. With DreamHack coming up, we won't stream as much just because it's not possible to stream during DreamHack. I just want to try and keep the sub count in the positives during that, if we can. Cyber Core drops down, so it'll be Core before Nexus. Not too surprising either. That actually really became a go-to in TVP the last year or so as well. Maybe even more than a year, but just the idea of going Core then Nexus was a big addition to the Protoss arsenal, and being able to harass with that first unit across the map and so on has definitely made a very sizable difference over time. Ibra is journeying. Coming across the map to, of course, see what will happen early. He's going to go Conquest of Shell Opener, and Barracks behind it as well. We'll see what he can do with the initial Marauders. Typically, if you can catch the first unit, but the probe should be able to scout, then the first unit should never be caught off guard. But catch the first unit, force a battery at home, and then you play 3 racks behind it. Specifically, if you can force the battery and then you don't actually commit. That's one of the styles I like the most, because then you get yourself into actually a pretty reasonable position. Get those Marauders back home, and then you've just got 2 Marauders as part of your 3 racks push, and that can be, like I say, pretty powerful. Marauders reveal themselves, no surprises there. Like I say, battery should start at home, and the good news here is you don't lose a unit that's trapped because, well, obviously you're paying attention, you see what's happening, you don't need to lose a unit or anything crazy, so that's a nice little plus as well. And Marauders still pressing around into the natural here, and then it's going to come straight through. Sit around. Like I say, keep them for the 3 racks push, they can be pretty powerful. Combat 3 racks push, the 3 racks are up, of course, Engineering Bay coming through for +1. Now he gets the first Marauder with the Stalkers and the Adept. In fact, a Marauder will go down here. Doesn't get a Stalker either. Really good control from Trap, and actually really well handled, because not being able to get a Stalker back just means you're losing some of your very valuable... Oh, wow. Trap showing off a little bit. This micro is awesome. He's getting so much done from this. Trap showing up a little bit, and oh, this is getting really problematic for KeeN all of a sudden. He was pretty comfortable that these Marauders would be able to help hold the low ground, didn't need the bunker. How wrong he was. He's going to be kicking himself a little bit right now, because he's let this early game completely slip out of control for no real reason than just the reluctance to build a bunker. Terran players, when will you learn? Those bunkers, they're pretty good, boys. Should probably keep building them. They're good. Like, they're genuinely good. SCV's going down as well. A lot of work is being picked away. I mean, this truly is looking as though we're going to have ourselves a bit of a one-sided game too. I mean, at this stage, Trap is, okay, maybe now these Marauders, they will get one of the Stalkers, gets 2. Wants to get the Marauder again. Again, Trap is just showing no fear up against the units which are meant to be so scary. Hopes in 3 more Stalkers. Yeah, I mean, we're in a situation where Blink is up, and so are the bio upgrades as well, but are there any bio units left on the map right now? 3 Marauders, 5 Marines. There's definitely not enough bio units to hold multiple positions, so you're going to have the bunker on the low ground, so you've got a choice. You can Blink on the main and fight those units straight up, which is what Trap's going to do, so never mind about fighting the low ground. It gets rid of the Marauders straight away, and it just means Marines alone, even with Stim, they just don't do that much, especially this amount of Marines. The Stalkers are just going to be able to take those few shots of damage and deal with it. And more warpins from Trap. We really are just on our way to saying GG's in this game number 2, I think. Has KeeN recently back from the military? Yeah, he's been back maybe a couple months, 3-4 months maybe? I'm not sure exactly when he returned, but he has been around a little bit longer than, say, Gumiho has been and stuff. I think like 3-4 months or so he started to play again. Yeah, I'm really excited to see if Alive comes back, because Alive was... to me, it was really funny, because Alive and KeeN were always the 2 Korean Terran players, as Trap just wins this game too, as we expected. Alive and KeeN were always these 2 Terran players from Korea that Game number 3 then. So the DreamHack qualifier is in 16 minutes, so just as a little heads up, maybe this runs over, maybe it doesn't. Obviously, we'll just jump into the DreamHack qualifier when it's ready to go. Well, we'll just finish this game no matter what, because if we're 5-10 minutes late, that's generally still fine. All the time, people are still vetoing stuff then, so it's not a major issue, that's for sure. Game 3. I mean, Trap played just a good game there. I mean, the micro was very, very good. The control to be able to take a lot of those fights and a lot of those Stalker trades and just really make something out of them was truly fantastic. I mean, that was just, like I say, very well done. You can't really say much else about it. And, just kind of interested now to see how Game 3 plays out. Because KeeN played great in Game 1 when he got into the longer game. I don't think Trap... The funny thing is, it's like, usually it would be the other way around. KeeN a bit of an underdog. Usually the shorter game is good for him, the longer game is good for Trap. But in this case, it was the other way around. Where Trap excelled in the shorter game and KeeN excelled in the longer game. So, I would imagine you still want to see the longer game here. Probably on both sides, which is what makes this extremely interesting, actually. Both players probably want to go into the later stages here and let this play out a little bit. Wonder if KeeN will try something 3 racks focused again, because it wasn't a bad setup. It was just the fact that he didn't set up a bunker, right? Like, and that's such an easy fix as well, to be like, oh no, that game didn't go right for me. Oh, I just have to build a bunker. Oh, cool. And then you're golden, right? I kind of wonder about that. Well, as we got ourselves going, we got ourselves a little bit of movement around the map, and obviously that proxy Stargate to the top side, so that's going to be kind of fun. Definitely a way to mix this up a little bit, proxying that Stargate. I like it, though. I like it. Should be pretty neat as our CC drops on down. We really just get this ready to go. So CC on the natural expansion to begin with here. A few Marines putting some pressure on, Adept taking a little bit of damage, nothing really too wild. Obviously, with the Oracle showing up, this is when we're going to see how well prepared KeeN is going to be. Can he deal with the fact that it's likely to be up in the main base and so on? Yep, so far, pretty well set up. He has a Widow Mine out too, which will help him to zone some of these units as well. KeeN's just playing some very solid early games. I mean, I think that's got to be said, right? Like, the early game from him is just... it's just good. Like, there's not... you can't really complain about it at all or anything. It's just solid. I mean, like, last game, obviously, it fell apart a bit, missing that bunker, and Trap really microed amazingly to deal with that as well, and to create that opening, create that opportunity. These Oracles coming through, a couple of Marines putting some damage out, and the Oracles will get turned away in the end, so Oracles pushed out of here. Up escaping out through the bottom left side. Step's going to commit in. I mean, obviously the Viking here to help zone out the Oracle. Not really too worried about this attack. Don't think Trap has got too much potential, and these Marines are doing very well to zone this out as well. Phoenix on the way, so obviously you're going to see Trap supporting his air army with the Phoenix as well as the Oracles, so he's going to have that little bit of a combo. As that first Revelation goes down to the natural. That Viking is already taking a bit of a beating, but it does get away, keeps itself alive for a later date. If you ever do get up into higher Viking counts, then any Viking is going to help, so just try and keep that on your side if you can. What Trap does gain here is pretty much full map control, right? There is no vision from KeeN on the map. He doesn't really know what the follow-up is. The bad news for Trap, it's a lot of investment, right? It's a lot of money spent on these units, which are not always going to be the best layer in the game. And he's continuing to give up quite a lot of the Adepts as well, which is also something to definitely keep in mind. And this is now 8 workers going down, though. So a lot of workers starting to fall, and that's the sort of thing that actually does really maybe start to change the pacing of this a little bit, because otherwise this set Trap was looking to be in the best of setups so far still. Just because I'm a little bit afraid of stim combat and +1 finishing and that counterattack potential. I suppose we'll see how well that goes soon, although the first medevac's trying to drop is obviously just a complete no-go, so that will be a complete and utter disaster, so that won't go anywhere. Marine's just going to continue out, just going to see those gates coming through. Lots of bits and pieces getting set up right now as a few Phoenix still just hanging off to the side, waiting for their opportunity. Here come our Marines for the moment, just going to try and protect the third base as it lands. We'll see if they want to try and make a move across the map. Again, moving across the map just has that complication of, well, there's a lot of units, there's a lot of Phoenix out, there's a lot of map control of the Protoss. Can you really push anywhere where the Protoss is not going to be prepared for you? Well, probably not. At that point, then, well, why are you trying to push anywhere if they kind of know what's happening, if they're just going to be moving into the right places? It becomes difficult to justify, you know? Close off the Stargate, at least it will hold any further air production. That will be it for now. Phoenix making a dive in towards the main base. He's going to go running up here. The Marine's going to try and chase them down. Again, just looking for openings, looking for some damage that may be done. Some of the Phoenix are actually starting to fall as well, so do start to take a little bit of damage at the end there. Here comes Trap coming forward with a good chunk of Zealots. I mean, Go's not ready yet. We do have Libs on the way. Remember, KeeN is basically being kept at home all game long, so he's just kind of playing this defensive game. He's just like, well, what other choice do I really have? What else is he really meant to do at this point? There ain't a lot you can do, quite frankly. One Marine runs forward, and that gets killed off pretty much instantly there, so that doesn't go too well. Because now we set up Guardian Shield. Some Phoenix going to start doing some lifts. They started pushing on through. Nice force fields down on that low ground as well. "13 SCVs go down though, so it is pretty decent damage from Trap. Able to get a very good amount out of this, honestly, at the end of it all. I think he's going to be pretty content with what he was able to do on that little bit of a push-up. We do still have the army perusing. I mean, main army kind of fell back, but it's going to be going back onto the map around about now, looking to, again, see what other possibilities lie here. Placing some bits and pieces around. Bioforce going to come back through. KeeN actually finally maybe going to get onto the map. We've not seen him really be all that active just yet, right? Robo is about to finish and +2 attack. The blink continuing through. Gonna see blink and +2 continuing on in. With the Colossi coming out, I mean, what KeeN's doing is essentially just having to play like into like a late game, but without ever having applied the pressure. Has me worried. I mean, you can just see Trap is like expanding freely, attacking pretty freely. What of my shot hits onto a Phoenix already, and just going to be seeing our Robo facility about to finish up. So 2 Robos as well. And KeeN is, like I say, he's teching properly. I mean, if you're just sitting back defending, you've got no excuse not to be teching it properly, that kind of stuff. KeeN's about to have +2 attack. Not sure if that's going to lead to anything, considering he's barely being able to move out of his bases, but nice to note, I guess, that he's keeping up on upgrades as we clean up on the left side. Obviously, more than anything right now, he's just taking a step to move into the 4 base setup. You need 4 bases if you're going to stabilize in a game like this one. Marine's going to hop out that bunker, and Simsal's going to take some hits. SCV is already going down. 5 workers falling. Again, Storm is about halfway done. Dark Shrine still coming up too. Plus, I firing, just going to be seeing that set of rocks taken down again. Altogether, I mean, a lot happened this game without a lot really happening, you know? Like, in general, it's just been that kind of very passive game overall, but because of all the pressure that Trap put on early, it forced KeeN to be so passive. So, I guess it's not being passive, but it's been much more passive in certain ways, like the Terran not being on the map and so on, than what we're kind of used to for the Terran versus Protoss matchup. I wouldn't mind connecting on a Zealot or so out the front. The rest of this is going to move along to that right-hand side, so it's going to go on a bit of a journey there. This Prism is just going to be chilling. 4 Zealots ready to fly into the main turret mine. It's actually kind of a risky play, actually. Try and probably jump on top of this. Fight in the middle of the map. Ooh, nice EMPs. Good catch. All the High Templar just got hit, and the Vikings are chasing as well. Uh-oh, a lot of Archons went down. High Templar went down too. That was with then, because there's no answer to the Vikings, they really do have a chance to do a lot. The Prism goes down instantly. Turrets just say, no, you're not allowed into our base. And all of a sudden, Trap is actually on the run a little bit. There's a drop top right, so he's going to lose a base. And the first time in the game that KeeN's kind of making his way to the other side, he actually finds some really good trades. Suddenly, he's just up 30 supply or so. Another Storm coming down. Couple Storms coming down, in fact, as these Ghosts will help out. Good EMPs across the board. The Vikings will absolutely get rid of the Colossus. The Shield Battery's not doing much. The Super Battery is too far away from the Colossi to help out as well. And this is 12 probes and maybe another base of Trap about to die here. So Trap in some trouble. Just going to see him come through. Disrupt a shard. Let's line up for a couple of Ghosts. The Vikings refusing to land. I feel like that's a mistake because these Vikings could have landed and soaked up some damage and maybe just added the damage onto some of these Stalkers, etc. Disruptor's dying before this army gets cleaned out, and that's obviously painful too. Because any tech that you're losing right now as Trap is tech that you're not really able to afford. KeeN has just played a beautiful game with a couple of really good engagements. Like, he knew he was kind of trapped, so he played a game where he couldn't really move out, and a game which typically then is not going to favor him. But he did what he needed to do. He showed up in the ways that he had to. Puts himself in a good little position. I mean, now Trap is going to be backing away, what, down to the bottom side of the map? A observer here getting picked off. Well, Libera is still just on the way up as well. It's just bringing those through as +3 armor comes on in. At this point, KeeN's obviously max, so he should be, again, moving out with the armor. He does start that process. What do you go for here? Do you aim for this base again? Do you want to work your way around the bottom? I think he's just going to say, let's try the right side. He scans bottom and top, which makes it hard for Trap, because now Trap's not like, oh yeah, you're scanning where I'm about, where you're about to push me. He kind of just being scanned all over, so you can't just make a judgment call like that. Big EMP on the High Templar will not let them storm. And there goes this Nexus. So Trap just not out of position, didn't have the map control. Part of the problem of losing out some of his earlier armies that really kept map control by just being kind of an army that was good on the map in the in that stage of the game. To get rid of a couple final probes in the back here. And looks like he might just keep on pushing through. The Liberator is going to siege up. This is a single elimination tournament, guys. If Trap loses this, he's just out. Which would be kind of a shocker. Like I say, we've been seeing some upsets. And this might be another one of them as KeeN will push on forward. We're going to see this Archon taking a few hits. Starts get healed up by the battery. Let's him forward jump on this Disruptor. Going to take that down, so that will just be removed from the game for now. And maybe just continue to collapse into this side. Disruptor shots still coming through, and I mean, they do okay, but the fact of the matter is KeeN has a ton of stuff ready to go. He's still got that Liberator support standing in the back as well. It will stand strong as he pushes on through this. There is just nothing left at all here for Trap. And KeeN is going to win this series 2-1. Well, that, my friends, is kind of crazy. Cool to see KeeN doing so well. It's Trap types out GG. It is cool to see KeeN doing so well, because I genuinely think KeeN is a player that I'd love to see come back and do well. And, even if he's just competitive in the online cups, for me, that's good enough. I think I'd love to see that.